Imagine this with me. You may feel at least part of the day in your feelings or frustrated or upset. But then you think and wonder, and it's because you may have agreed to something you never wanted to do. I see this pattern all the time. I see it a lot. Somebody says yes, you agree to kind of take on something, to bring it in. You want to do it, but you couldn't say no. And instead of feeling good about it, you feel upset. You feel frustrated. This is really where people pleasing, I think, gets really, really, really interesting to dissect and understand. I talk a lot about signals and patterns, recognition, all of those things. And one signal I see over and over and over again in clinical practice is people pleasing. Now, these patterns that I speak about can affect all brains, not just the ADHD brain, but many times the ADHD brain could be more susceptible to these things because of the impulsivity, the urgency, the rejection sensitivity element, and a strong desire to avoid discomfort. And it's really important because most people don't realize that people pleasing isn't just about being really nice, right? Or anything like that. Sometimes it's about avoiding at all costs the difficult feelings of disappointing somebody else. That's the line. And the discomfort with conflict, which is human, not being wanting to be misunderstood. And if you don't have to tolerate those feelings, why? But then the other side of the coin is the accommodation, over accommodating people. This is why I feel like people pleasing is a signal, a big signal, and it's often a silent struggle underneath the surface that gets missed. And not because it's affecting somebody else, because it may show up indirectly through very common things such as fatigue, exhaustion, being overcommitted. I spoke about that in my last video. You can just flat out begin to resent things or people or situations because you end up prioritizing others' needs over your own, and it can bring you out of alignment, can pull you straight out of alignment, pull you off course. Putting someone else's needs consistently over your own is how you get pulled off course. And people pleasing isn't all about just saying no every time. It's about knowing when you're uncertain and having that awareness and holding on to things that belong to you. So there's a big cost and a price to people pleasing. And these things cannot just happen at once. It could be a quiet cumulative effect of overcommitment in small moments. Then the exhaustion begins. The second guessing can begin. And this can turn into full on resentment or isolation. Isolation, avoidance to things you've already agreed to. And then your brain starts wondering, why do I feel this way? Why am I feeling scattered or overwhelmed around every corner? Achieving alignment can simply start with acknowledging that you're people pleasing too much. And a big question that I really encourage folks to ask is, if guilt didn't play any part of the decision process in choosing something, would how would that change some of the decisions you make? And the goal isn't to become selfish. It's not to say no to every single thing. That's not realistic. You gotta say yes. You gotta say yes. But a way to separate things is to evaluate what role guilt is playing in making decisions for yourself. And maybe giving yourself a bit more options to say no without the guilt. So people pleasing can take a toll if you let it. And the cost can show up far beyond the moment you say yes. The overcommitment, the fatigue, the isolation, and bring you out of alignment with yourself. And that's why I urge folks to pay attention to the signals, because they're there if you spot them. Because when you can spot the pattern, particularly in real time, you got the power to change it. And when you understand the toll it's having, right? You don't have to do all this at one time or focus on all these things, but the goal is to create more clarity within yourself, to create more alignment within yourself. And that's the easiest pathway to steadiness. And now, if you're interested to understand your patterns more on a deeper level, the signals, all the things, I have a passion project called ADHD Flight School. Inside ADHD Flight School, I have launched the Clear and Steady Development Lab. Again, it's a private roundtable of serious, high capacity people who are interested in digging deeper. The link to this is in the bio. Be well.